Now, I want to start off by just simply asking a question. Who here is actively spending money on Facebook ads right now? Okay, good. You're in the right room today. How many of y'all are actively also testing creatives and throwing things at the account, hoping something sticks so you can scale and spend more profitably? All right. You're in the right room today because one promise I will make is I will be giving y'all probably close to about 20, 25 ad angles that's crushing it for us. And the exact strategy that anytime we take over an ad account, that you can immediately go and deploy in your business, and it's going to give you a statistically higher chance of scaling your Facebook ads. I want to first start off with just kind of a quick little story real quick. I've been running Facebook ads now for over, 10 years now. Started back in early 2015 when I was trying to scale a detailing business. I started in college to make some extra money on the side. Now, at this time, the only thing I knew how to do well with Facebook ads was create campaigns, duplicate campaigns, and bang my head against the computer when it didn't work. And I realized I was missing a huge part of making Facebook ads work. I was so focused on the technical side that I wasn't focusing on what was being put in front of someone when they were scrolling on the platform, the actual creative itself. And I was spending 80% of my time on the campaign structure, bid cap, auto bid, what time of the day to increase the budget. And I was spending maybe 20% of the time of, oh, hey, that's a cool picture of my product. Let me upload it to Facebook. And I was not getting any results. And then back in, I would say about 2020 is where I actually started reading this book. And let me actually pass this up real quick. I found this book in 2020. How many of y'all read this book? 1, 2, 3. This is a book right here, what I call is the marketing Bible, and it's a must for anyone that works with me at my agency to read at least once a year. If that's one takeaway you take at all from this whole presentation, get this book, start reading it. I will be very honest with you. When I first got this book, I read one chapter and almost wanted to throw away because it is a very dense read. It's very high level, and it goes over a lot. So it's okay. It can be frustrating when you first get it, but take your time, go through it, because there's a lot of really cool stuff inside of it. And one key thing that we're going to be talking about today from this book is called the 5 stages of market awareness. And this is where it's each stage of the funnel your customer goes through have different stages of market awareness. And I'm going to come back to this in a second. Do need to kind of tell you, though, why this is important. So at my agency, we work with a lot of e-commerce clients, lead gen clients. And when a client comes on board, we have, as soon as they pay that first invoice, you have 30 days to make them money as quick as possible. If you don't make them enough money in that first 30 days, they're unlikely going to renew with you. So for me, as an agency owner, I need to be able to come into someone's business and as quickly and effectively deploy a set of ad creatives that are built using the proper marketing fundamentals to be able to scale them up, give them the highest statistical chance of scaling within that first 30 days. That way, I make more money, they make more money, and it's a win-win for everyone. So we're going to be diving into this today and the different emotions that you need to be doing at each stage. I'll be showing y'all creatives today, so there'll be a lot of tactical stuff that I'll be going over today, and kind of diving through all of those things you need to be doing. So let's go ahead and get started with this. The very first stage is called aware. At this stage right here, it's going to be the very smallest stage of the market awareness. And we'll be going through from aware all the way to unaware. Now, at aware, people want to buy from you, but they're just waiting for the right price. How many of y'all got the email this morning from Mike saying, hey, if you want to purchase your ticket for 2026 Social Media Marketing World, it's a really great discount? Y'all are all primed right now, ready to buy, and they hit y'all at the exact perfect time. And they gave y'all a phenomenal price for it. So there's a couple set of different creatives at an aware stage that we want to run. Again, they're sold on you. They love your product. They're just waiting for the right price. How many of y'all are running some type of offer right now? Whether it's buy two, get one free, 10% off, free shipping, any type of offer. What I like to do when I come into a client's ad account is immediately go ahead, take their offer, because usually they just leave it very bland, like 10% off site-wide with like no context around it. So I always like to go ahead and I'll rebrand that offer. I won't change the offer. I'm just going to rebrand the offer. So this will be early spring sale, spring closeout sale, and then guess what? Repeat again for summer sale. Now, I work with a lot of clothing brands, so typically that's kind of how the go-to will be around the seasonality. But you can also do this for other like niche specific to you of different timelines that your business goes through. So that's the first one. Next one is going to be spring ending soon. Know how I say ending soon and not, hey, it's ending tonight, or hey, it's ending in 12 hours? Because I do want to let this ad creative run for a while, and I just think it's unethical to be like, hey, it's ending tonight in 12 hours, and then you've been running it for like 365 days. People are going to not want to buy from you because you're already like lying to them at the end right there. So typically for me, I'll go ahead and I'll launch both of these creatives at exactly the same time because I will be ending soon, but I do want to leverage the urgency behind it. Again, they're waiting for the right price. So we need to inject some urgency for them to take action, especially if we have a great product. We know it's going to help them. So we want them to get that product soon. Now, next one is only 38 pieces available, limited stock. You can do whatever number you want technically. This is a brand that we work with that does these things. They're called tactical traps, and they like hand make all of these particular like cabinets and different things like that. And like legitly, they only had 38 pieces left. So we went ahead, threw up a creative, calling out the fact that we had limited availability. And guess what? Everyone that was sold on us, they wanted to buy from us, now had urgency to take further action. Another one you can do, if instead of just saying like the actual number, it's just saying something like limited stock alert. Those work really well. I know something I do in one of my training programs, because I don't like to discount my training program. I'll actually go ahead and do something where it's like, hey, I'm increasing the price tonight, and I will actually increase the price at night. So once I get too many students in my program, I'll be like, hey, we only have 20 spots left. Once we get to that spot, then I'll increase the price by anywhere between 20% to 50%, depending on the demand at that time. Next one, it's just simply calling out the fact that we added some new products to the website. Usually it's just going to be like different designs, different colors, maybe a 2.0 version. I would say this is probably more in the lower tier of how well it works, but it works really well for clothing brands we work with. And if you do see that little box, it's just because I'm covering up the name from that particular client. I don't actually just leave a random box like that on there. But yeah, so this is going to be our where ads. Now, I also want to point something out right now. These are all going to be what I would call more of your retargeting ads. If you get traffic from an external source, like for me, for example, I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel brings a lot of traffic to my agency, my coaching programs, and my courses. I can still run these ads on Facebook to retarget that traffic, even though I'm not targeting cold traffic on Facebook with my personal brand. So anyone who's crushing it with SEO and not currently running Facebook ads, anyone who's doing YouTube, Google ads, but not running Facebook ads, these are some great retargeting ads to hit those people with. Now, for the ad flow, this is basically just going to be what's all in that particular ad right there. We're just hitting on the offer. I've seen some people take this and like they feel like they still need to go through the normal like problem solution and all that stuff. No, like you're literally just putting the offer on the creative and one of those key angles right there, and that's it. Now, next one we're going to go to is product aware. At the product aware stage, this is going to be a hefty one. This one right here, this is going to be the second smallest one. And also too, I don't know if I pointed this out on the first slide, you'll know that it's easier to sell to for these There's going to be less money in terms of the scalability. And as we work all the way up to the harder to sell to, and those are going to make more money. But I just want to come point that out real quick for those different stages. These people have seen your ads. They've seen your product. They know what you're selling, but they're not sold on you yet. And we're going to address that with a few different ways. First one is questions. What questions do people have about your product, your service? Does anyone do high-ticket sales with lead gen with Facebook ads? Anyone in here? Boom, boom. This is phenomenal. If you're doing high-ticket sales where you have to do a sales call and like generate a lead, go through those common questions you get in a sales call and go make an ad creative for each question. This particular client right here, they sell these custom seats for motorbikes, and we typically just get like random questions like, like for example, this one right here, does the seat absorb vibration? We get other questions like, does it work for X bike? And all we'll do is go do the little TikTok reply thing. I love that one. That's my favorite, by the way, for this creative. And then just simply answer the question. That's it. This example right here, I did not actually make it playable video, so just bear with me. But all I did was have a girl go and like have the bike in front of her, and she's just simply asking the questions and then going over into that answer right there. That's all you need to do. And we'll do one of these creatives per question that is common. And you can find these questions on your social media comments, your support inbox, typically it's me, social media comments and your support inbox. Those will be the most common places to get those questions right there. And then if you do high-ticket sales, any sales calls, you get a lot of good questions from there. Now, next one is objections. So, product aware, we got your questions answered. Now let's look at your objections. Now, this is actually not a creative that we personally ran and built, so just being very clear on that. This was from a pet insurance company. I took this creative a while back for inspiration. It's a really great creative. But all you're going to simply do is the exact same thing with the questions, but now you're going to focus on the objection. And all you're going to do is simply call out the objection and then answer it. This one right here, pet insurance is a scam. She basically calls out that objection real quick, and then from there she goes into why pet insurance is not a scam. A couple ways to solve objections is always going to be authority, logic, breaking down that objection, reframing it, and that's going to help you kind of overcome some of those objections from there. Now, next one is testimonials. One thing that I see a lot of people do wrong with testimonials, and I know testimonials is kind of like a early level marketer thing, but I do see a lot of people who do bad with testimonials, and the most common thing I see people do bad with testimonials is they either go from one extreme to the other. They're either going to go and try to pick a testimonial that's like a 1 in a millionth thing. Like, does anyone have like a testimonial that's like, out of 1,000 people that purchased from me, maybe like one random one that's just like, I wouldn't even believe that. I don't even know how that happened. A lot of people think those crazy testimonials actually get you like, oh wow, this is crazy what my product just did. But if it's not the average of all your customers, it's actually going to get you in trouble, one, with the FTC. I've recently learned this. Nick Theriot, I don't know if I'm saying his name properly. He actually recently did a book on this around FTC compliance. And then the other thing is you're going to get a lot of chargebacks. And people want refunds if you're promoting a testimonial that the average person will not experience. The opposite side of testimonials is people will literally go in the comments or like the reviews, and they'll pull the one that's like, good product, fast shipping. In a competitive environment, people don't care about that anymore. They want more like, hey, proof that the product works. This example right here, we had this girl, she commented on it, we had some pictures from her, and literally it's just highlighting the claim we made in all of our other ads, which is this product makes your closet neater. That's it. Now the last one, or second to last one, is authority. If you have any authority around your product, which authority can be broken down into 3 different, what I would say, types of people. Number one is like your typical lawyer, doctor. That's obviously authority. The next one is going to be influence. This particular girl right here, she had 500,000 Instagram followers, so we got her to shoot a little video highlighting our product, how it works, and calling out the offer and stuff. And then the last type of authority is people with experience. People who've been there and done that. For me personally, obviously I have my YouTube channel. That can be like my social influence as an authority. But the other part of my authority is my 10 years of experience with Facebook ads. So authority doesn't always have to be something crazy like a doctor or a lawyer and have to dish out a ton of money to get someone to endorse your product. It could just be people that people look up to due to influence or just simply experience. If I was selling a product specifically for women who are pregnant, I could go find a mom who's had 5 kids and she has authority because she's been experienced with giving birth and pregnancy and like raising kids and stuff. Now, the last one is other products similar. I don't know if anyone's bought a TV lately, but there's so many TVs on the market. And I was moving into this new house about a year ago, and I literally spent like a day just trying to compare all the different TVs and stuff. And like, it was difficult because there's so many different little specs. There's hertz, screen size, and like all these other little things. And for me, it made me kind of realize that stage right there, product aware, that's all people are doing. They have your product with 5 other products exactly the same, and they're just comparing them on the screen side by side by side. So how does your product stack up against the competition? Not from a perspective-driven statement, but from a logical-driven statement. I see a lot of people that try to compare products, their product versus the competitor's product, and they make very emotionally judge statements towards the other person. Whereas in reality, the way to gain trust for your customer is point out the logical things. For example, when I was looking at TVs, one TV was specifically made for being viewed in bright spaces. The other TV was specifically made to be viewed in dark spaces. It wasn't a perspective-driven thing. It was literally the exact statement from the manufacturer and stuff. So when you're looking at your product versus the competitors, what are the logical things that make your product better? Not the emotional ones, not the you want to talk bad about the competition because you know your product is better. The logical things about your product. Now, at the product aware stage, these are all the different things that goes through a customer's mind that helps build trust with your brand. Again, product aware people, they've seen your ads, they've seen your product, they just don't completely trust you yet. And these are the different things that you can put in front of these people that's going to build better trust with your business and make people want to buy from you. From the ad flow, we'll usually call out an objection. After we answer the objection, then we'll go to the offer, and we'll repeat that with the questions, maybe a testimonial, or maybe comparing other products. Now, aware and product aware is what we just went over. These are both going to be your remarketing, your retargeting on Facebook. Now we're going to start going up to the cold audiences. One big thing to look at with aware and product aware are going to be more of your foundation of a house. And if these aren't built up correctly, the rest of the house is just going to fall down. So when we build this up correctly, this makes scaling so much easier. And again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, where when we come into a client's account and we only have a certain amount of time to get them results before I have to charge them again, a lot of the clients we take on, they have one winning ad that's carrying $30,000 a month of ad spend, and they've done none of the other work for building that proper foundation at a low level. So now let's start going up to more of our cold audiences. And cold audiences where we can spend a lot more money. So solution aware. This one's kind of right in the middle. This is where I think a lot 90% of advertisers reside at is solution aware. People want what your product does, but they don't know what the product is. Back in 2000, I think it was 2021, I think it was like April of 2021, Apple released this amazing update called iOS 14.5, and iOS 14.5 is, it technically ruined Facebook ads forever. And after that update, a lot of data tracking from Meta to like your Shopify was broken, and you didn't really get to see the correct data anymore inside of your ads manager. I wish there was a product out there that just like fixed attribution or fixed the data and would get around this. Then that's when things like Hyros, Triplewell, Wicked Reports, some of these other companies came out to fix that attribution. We knew what we wanted from the product, we just didn't know what the product was at that time. So that's your solution-aware market. And it's also where a lot of people get things wrong because people think they want your product, and it's like, no, they want what your product does for them. That's the big key thing here at Solution Aware. The first way to approach a solution-aware market is just by simply calling out what your product does for them. This is a video right here. This helped us scale from about 150K to about, a little over around $1 million a month for one of our e-com brands. And this particular video, we simply opened up a market for girls' night, and we're literally just like, hey, girlies, want a fun girls' night? Here's this awesome product. That's it. We didn't have to go out there and try to reverse engineer girls' night. We just showed girls having fun. They were doing this amazing product. We started off with the emotion they wanted to feel, and then we went and showed them the product that they can use to achieve that feeling. That's it. Next one is calling out a faster solution. So let's say you're in a little bit more of a sophisticated marketplace. There's multiple people trying to sell towards girls' night now because we approached with that first one. Now we need to look at competitive advantages for what they want. So we have this particular product here for one of our clients, and it's a product for sighting in your firearm, and the traditional way is really slow and takes a lot of time. So this particular product sights your scope in minutes. All we simply did was call it what people want. Because we just imagine all those firearm enthusiasts at home trying to do this manually and how long it's taking. So it's all they want is a faster way to do this. I'm going to call out what they want in a faster way and then show them the product. Next one is calling out a cheaper solution. There's a lot of brand owners who, the minute they put cheaper associated with their brand, it gets their ego really hurt. And I understand that. What we want to do is we want to call out more expensive solutions and then compare it to our product being the cheaper version. And this actually makes your product not necessarily look cheaper, but less expensive, and it handles that objection of, oh, your product is really expensive, I don't want to buy it. Rose Skin Co. does a phenomenal job at this. I don't know if any of y'all seen their ads. They're always calling out people that are actively doing laser IPL and spending thousands of dollars at the, the clinic and stuff. And then now that you can do it for $200 at your home, it makes that $200 look so much cheaper. It doesn't make the brand look cheaper. It just makes the solution cheaper and a no-brainer. And that's all what we want to do here. So for this particular client, we had this Pilates bar, and we made it cheaper by just simply calling out the people that's spending a lot of money on overpriced gym coaches, and then just simply introduced a cheaper solution. Now, next one is called out a simpler solution. Also, disclaimer, this is not our creative, but it came from AG1, and they did a phenomenal job to showcase this, where let's say you're taking 20 different supplements and vitamins. Now you get in this one simple formula. Very easy one to make. And then last one is call out a solution without what they hate. So this is one of our clients, and we literally just called out tipsy without the sip. We knew our audience wanted to get tipsy, but they didn't want to do it from alcohol. They didn't want the hangovers and all that thing, all those nasty things like that. So we just simply call the fact that, hey, you can get tipsy without the sip. We called out what they want, and then introduced that particular thing. So this is going to be all your solution-aware creatives. And same thing from the ad flow side. We're going to call out that solution. Then we're going to go through answering the questions, objections, testimonials and stuff, and then we'll give them the offer. Also, a little side note on this is that you can do this with like a video ad, whether it's like a UGC video or like more of like a professional style video. You can also do this with an image ad, like I've kind of been showing y'all, and then you're solving all of this on whether it's like a pre-sale page. I know Molly Pittman spoke yesterday, and she was talking a lot about pre-sale pages. Those work really well. So you can do the pre-sale page, where the pre-sale page goes into all of those things, those objections, those questions, reviews, and like further building that trust, and then finally an offer they can take action on, where they send them to the product page. Now, we're going to problem aware. At this stage right here, this is the second to largest market that you can actively go after. This one's going to be where the reality is it's going to start becoming harder to sell to these people. It's also going to make you more money when you open up these people, though. These are people who don't want to benefit our product, but they want to stop dealing with a problem. This is very common when you go to the doctor's office. You're like, doctor, I don't really care what you got to give me. Just, I want to stop dealing with X thing. And we're going to approach the problem-aware market exactly the same way we approach the solution-aware market, where we pretty much have the more sophisticated ways to go through it. So, very first way to call out a problem-aware market, just call out the problem. This one right here, we called out people who basically just didn't want to deal with being lazy anymore. And then we introduced a way for them to basically get some motivation and energy. Next one is call out a faster way to solve the problem. So if people are currently solving a problem one way right now, but they hate going about how they approach that problem, and maybe they want a faster way, we just simply want to call that out. Here's a great example from an ad that I saw online. Again, not one that we actually made, but it's a great example here. Stress relief in 15 seconds. Also, disclaimer on that too as well, be careful with how the time frames you do, because if the time frame is too fast, people might also not believe you from there. This right here was a client that was selling, they were going after women with bladder leaks, specifically women 60 plus that struggle with bladder leaks. And the current way to solve that problem that was well known for these women was surgery and medication. So we filmed this video right here where it's literally just like bladder leaks, ? Here's how to stop it without surgery, without medication. And we showed a cheaper way to solve the problem. Again, we're not making our brand look cheap in like a bad way, but we're just simply saying that, hey, you're spending thousands of dollars this way. Here's our product for $50. And it gives you all of those amazing benefits. Now, next one is a simpler way to solve the problem. The easiest way to fight inflammation. And then we introduce the solution, which has these couple different like mushrooms and this like coffee elixir right here. Now, actually, this is not a creative example, but I want to show y'all something what happens when you disrespect these. I posted on Twitter the other day. I don't know if anyone's seen like a week ago, Facebook performance just like took a dip close to like Q1 ending. So I made a video like, do this to fix bad Facebook performance. And like this one person who like follows me, he's like, I didn't even watch the video yet, but I know you're probably going to say just test more creatives. And while that might have been a little truth to it, it was something this person hated. This person didn't like the idea of testing creatives, and he wanted a different solution for that problem because that solution did not work for that person. So another thing is when you're looking at opening up a problem or a market, what are solutions people actively are using to try to solve a problem that haven't had success yet? And just simply call the fact that, hey, like if you struggle with that problem, here's a new way to solve that problem without this thing. And that's going to get people's, attached to that and like, hey, yes, I need that. I want that. Same thing, call out the problem, introduce the solution, go through the trust building aspect, and then the offer. And again, that can be done through VSL. This is where you start getting into more of your long form sales pages. So if you're doing like a pre-sales page, you might do a little bit longer form sales page here. VSLs work really well at this stage. I'd say that's probably like the main two, like the landing page side. Now, my favorite market. This is your unaware people. This is the biggest possible market you can open to. This is going to be the hardest market to sell to, but it's going to make you the most money when you're trying to spend more with Facebook ads. Unaware people are literally just coasting through life right now, perfectly fine. And it's your goal as an advertiser to either create a problem for them and a need for your product. So how do you open up someone who literally does not know what your product is, does not care what your product is, doesn't even have a problem, doesn't even have anything they want? How do you create a creative that grabs their attention? First one, we call out a symptom. I don't know if there's any moms in here who's taking their kids to like the grocery store. This could be like a worst case scenario right here where like the kid starts screaming in the grocery store and like you either got to rush out or like try to accept the social pressure on you in that minute right there. And this is another really great creative that I found over the years that I've always liked to go to. Great example with this creative right here is that it starts off with this symptom of just being stressed, out and about with the kid, not knowing what's going on. They call out that symptom to grab your attention. Then they go into the problem, which is hidden hunger. Then they go into what the solution is, which is this like daily multivitamin. So they just created this problem for people after calling out a symptom, then going to the solution and all those good things. Next one is a big win. So big wins, I first discovered this back in my early days when I was getting started with basically the whole like make money online. And you see like people flexing, buying a Rolex, buying a Lamborghini, buying a Prada bag or a Louis Vuitton bag. And then right after that, immediately going into the problem of like how you're not making a lot of money. And then the solution, which is starting some type of crypto meme coin project. I've also liked to look at big wins when we're running ads for our clients, like this example right here, where we actually called out the fact that we could, get people a better, what I would say, electric bill, and we showed an example of lowering someone's electric bill. People who were experiencing this high electric bill, they were just whatever, like they were coasting with it. They didn't really know what they could do about it. They just accepted their fate with it. And then we showcased how we could lower it and, basically save them money. To take you through the whole flow of this, we start off with a big win. The problem went into the AC running all the time. Then the solution came into basically sealing up your attic with more attic insulation. Next one is hidden fear. Everyone has hidden fears. Most common ones is losing money, death, disease, very common hidden fears. There's also like hidden fears specific to like what you do. Like if I said, hey, this little known thing about Facebook ads, if you're not doing, is literally costing you thousands of dollars a year. All of a sudden it creates this need for wanting you to like hook you in. This is a ad creative we ran, basically calling out people who are on Medicare. And then from there, we went into this problem which is, basically an insurance product. I can't go too much into it, but it's an insurance product, supplemental insurance, and then from there. So, hidden fear, big wins, and symptoms your market has. This is a great way to open up an unaware market. I will try to speed this up because I'm literally on the last 2 minutes here. Ad flow, how everything goes through. And then I'm just going to kind of quickly go through this. This is the last thing. Research methods, what I'm doing right now. And also, too, by the way, I will be giving y'all the QR code for y'all to download this presentation here. But yeah, Reddit, I love the one site, reddit.com. Insert your whatever keywords you want. That's been a phenomenal research tool for us. Looking at your product reviews, great place for research. Facebook ad comments on your ads, phenomenal place to look at for objections, questions, all of those good things. Competitor product reviews. What am I asking myself? This is basically everything that I'm kind of going through while researching mentally. And then I'll basically put all that on a Google Doc as a rough research. It's literally just like chicken scratch, it's nothing fancy. I'll take all my product info, put it on a Google Doc. I'll upload it to AI, since I know a ton of people here love AI. And then basically I have AI prompts for each side. And again, like I said, I'm going to give you all this presentation, so if you don't get this, then that's fine. But I have basically a product or a prompt for each one, for each stage. Cool. And then I'm going to go get that QR code for y'all. If anyone wants to connect, my YouTube, Nick Theriot, Instagram, Twitter, email. I have dozens and hundreds of YouTube videos doing all of these things on my channel. So all free for y'all to take action on. And then as promised, if you want to download the presentation and get all of those examples, literally just scan that QR code right then there. Thank y'all, everyone, for attending today, and I hope you have a good rest of y'all day.
Nick Theriot, ladies and gentlemen.